Welcome to Optimizing Strategies for Using Logos Effectively and Efficiently. So let's get started. And the topics, I had to really think about this. There's a lot of things that I could show. And frankly, we could do this for like 3 days straight. There are a lot of things in there. So I've tried to zero in on those things that I feel are absolutely essential, that they really do make a difference in the way you use Logos. And everything you're seeing here are my go-tos. These are the things that I continue to fall back on for saving time, going deeper, getting more out of Logos Bible software. When I say getting more, I'm not just talking about getting more time back. I'm talking about leveraging the resources that you bought. I'm talking about finding the stuff quicker, basically helping you work faster, work smarter, so that you can really grow in God's Word. That's what these are. So we're going to go through all these from prioritizations to even the history tool. And let's go ahead now and jump into the tool. And let's get started first with prioritizations. And let me just do something really quick here. I'm going to do a little housekeeping. There we go. All right, so let's jump into the first one, prioritizations. And the way to do this is to left click on the library icon and drag and drop that into your layout. I think this is a much easier way to do prioritizations. And I'm going to left click on the right border and drag that all the way to the right so it takes up the full screen. Now we could have left clicked and dragged this to the center and release, and that would also give me a full screen. And that indirectly is a wonderful shortcut to be aware of. Now, prioritization is really important. How do we get to it? Well, we can click on this icon right here. It has a little arrow and 3 lines. And what I want to do is just kind of pause here so you can see the screen and see kind of the strategy that I've approached with the prioritizations. So the first section is Bibles. And as you can see, I've got 2 key English Bibles. Then I have my Hebrew Bible. I have my Greek Bible. And then I have my Septuagint Bible. And really what I'm looking for is at least 5 minimum books. Now, I know the original language, so that's why I have those in there. If you're not comfortable working with those, then just replace those with some English translations that you prefer. Now, how do we get these over there? Pretty straightforward. This is an old technique. It's been around. Many of you are familiar with this. But you just type in your favorite Bible, you left click on the title, and you drag that over. And then you use the line to determine where you want to place it. Don't worry, you cannot create duplicates, so don't worry about accidentally dragging the same book over twice. Now, the reason we do this is so that when we run certain guides, certain reports, we're going to get our preferred books first. That way, you're not having to run to the library or scroll through a long list looking for your preferred books. This saves you time, and so you need to definitely do this prioritization step. Can't stress this enough. All right, then after that, you can ignore this Old Testament, New Testament syntax. It's actually my visual clause, which I have in here. I really don't even need it anymore, but I'll leave it there for some reports. Now, the next one is very important, and that is the lexicons. You'll see that I have the DBL Hebrew and the DBL Greek. I choose these 2 first because they're short, they're concise, they're academic, and they're very accurate. And these dictionaries are a huge time saver. In fact, I'll go ahead and open up one right now. We'll do the DBL Greek. We'll click and open. And as you can see, we get a short, concise list of possible definitions for this particular word, citizenship or people. And there we go. We got everything we want. We've got the key definitions, key cross-references, even some links to TDNT and Strong. So if you want to jump from here to other resources, this is real easy. I love this feature. Love this lexicon, and I've used it for years, and it is definitely a good go-to. Then what I do is I go from concise lexicons to my kind of intermediate lexicon, Lexum Analytical lexicon. And then I go to kind of this more academic, scholarly, more in-depth lexicons. There's your Halot and BDAG. And then the last group is the theological lexicons. These are heavy duty. And again, their focus is understanding the theology of the word and how it's used theologically, whereas the lexicons like Halot and BDAG are really focusing just on the word itself. and so their focus is meaning. So think of the first ones as kind of definitions, and this theological focusing on the implications of what this word means theologically. And so they're going to deal with, so if they talk about manna, a lexicon, a normal lexicon is just going to say it's manna. But in a theological dictionary, it's going to talk about manna connected to the covenant or the miracles of God and things like that. And that's where those types of dictionaries can be really helpful. And then there's a theological lexicon there. Okay, the next category is an encyclopedia. I just have one. It's pretty expansive. It covers the Old and New Testament, and this comes in handy now and then. So just think of a series of background resources, Bible dictionary. Just pick one. Then I have a couple concise commentaries. So I have the Bible Knowledge, the MacArthur Study Bible, and Tom Constable Notes. And I love these. I use them all the time. And those are my go-to. Then I move to expositional commentaries, Tyndale, New American Standard, and Word Biblical Commentary. Now you notice I only have one here, even though to the right of it, it says 77 volumes. How do we do that? All right, so let's go ahead and just type in Tyndale. And we'll put in commentaries. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right-click on it. And you'll see there's an option, prioritize this series. So actually, you don't have to drag and drop. We could just right-click and say prioritize this series, and there it is. And that's how you add a series to the priority books. Very, very important. And then we have, after that, I have the New Treasure of Scripture Knowledge. I just have that included. And then lastly, I just have a couple extra ones. These are grammar books. It doesn't often come up in many of my guides, but I just include that in there. Okay. So in review, you've got Bibles, then syntax, then lexicons, then Bible dictionaries, then commentaries, concise, expositional, exegetical, new treasury, and then some grammar books. That's all you really need. Unless you have a particular need in a particular report that you're running, this should take care of 90% of your needs. Now, I know that's pretty fundamental, but it's so critical, and many people don't. When I train people on Logos, they don't have these set up, and this is critical. All right, and the way this plays out, let's just click on Guides. We'll go to Passage Guide, and we'll click and run this, put in a Bible passage, and here we go. So there's our commentaries, and as it's running, there's our favorite 3 commentaries right there at the top. Notice, then we have our expositional, and then we have our exegetical. I love that time-saving feature. And then, let's see, probably a good example. That represents pretty much what's going on. All right. Let's go now to shortcuts. Shortcuts are really important, and there's 2 types. There's the one-click shortcut, and there's the 2-click shortcut. The one-click shortcut is here. It's on the shortcut toolbar. Many of you guys have this, but I want to make sure you're using it optimally and efficiently. All right, everything that's here are things that I go to on a regular basis. Every time I study, I'm going to use one of these. That's how you determine what goes on the shortcut toolbar. I've seen a lot of people maximize this thing. You really don't want to have more than 10 or so, and that really is ideal. And these are things that I use every single time that I want to get to with one click. So I have my history, my OpenAI, my Atlas, Biblical Places, my favorites, my clipboard, and then, of course, my shameful plug for Learn Logos every time I make a video. All right, but inside here are actually real resources. So I have my first couple Bibles that I prefer. Then I have my couple commentaries that I prefer. And then after that, we'll go a little bit further. I then have my outline Bible. Then I have my background, 2 background books. And then I have my Treasure of Scripture Knowledge. And so that's what I have there in there. And again, these are one click. The other thing that I have is this, my drop-down resource of steps for the Bible study process. Let me show you how to create this folder. And this is nice because you can put a lot of links in here without taking up a lot of space. And that is a great strategy, particularly for methodology. So all you got to do, it's pretty simple. I'm going to right-click on the letter L, and it's the folder name. All right, so once you drag a shortcut onto the shortcut toolbar and you right-click on it, we can change the icon below, we can change the label, but the folder name is how we get into this folder. And you have to spell it exactly identical, even with capitalization. And so I've typed in LearnLogos.com study method, press enter. You'll see that the L has disappeared. And when I click on the study method, the L has appeared right here. Now to get it out of there, we just right click on it and we'll go over here and we'll just delete it, press enter, and now it's back here on the shortcut menu. Now again, the reason we have this here is these are layouts that I use on a regular basis that I just want to click and go to. It's quicker to click on this and go to my number rather than clicking on layouts and then searching and then clicking and so forth. So if you have a series of layouts that you strategically use, custom layouts, study guides, things like that, put them right in here and you are good to go. All right, and notice also I've got a couple other things. I have quick access to notes and some searches that I run pretty frequently. And so that's all that is there. All right, let me just make sure I'm not missing any chats. If you've got any questions, this is a good time to ask. And if you have any optimum suggestions, things you do to optimize, feel free to post those as well. All right, so that's the one-click shortcut. What about two-click shortcuts? What am I talking about there? That's where favorites comes into play. Now, I have a one-click shortcut to favorites. You can also get to favorites by clicking Tools and typing Fav, and you'll see favorites come up in the menu under the library menu. Now, the favorites is, again, 2 clicks, one for favorite, and then one for my menu. It might be 3 depending on how you've set it up. Now, what I've done here is I have put in some things that I do frequently. Not maybe every time I use Logos, but pretty often. If, let's say you use Logos every week, at least once or twice a week, I'm going to use these features. Now, the ones I use the most are magnification because I'm doing recordings all the time and I like to set up my screen. But I also have all my favorite searches, and you can see those there. We've got quite a few, and these are searches that maybe I don't always remember the special syntax, but I just want to go there. One that I use all the time is like structuring. So I'm studying the passage. I want to know if anyone has structured this. I just click on it. I go to the end. I put in my passage. I press enter. And now I've run that search. I've customized it to the verse I'm studying. And now I've got all the results there for me. So specialized searches are excellent for this. I also have specialized books like maps and events. These are specific books catering to that. So anything you want to put in here, pretty much you can access it. Here's the key books. So these are books that I always like to make sure I don't forget to use when I study, etc. Now, let me give you a little tip. Let me close things down. So when you open up favorites for the first time, you're going to set this up. So you're going to go like searching. Let's say you want searching always open. Or maybe you want maps and events always open. Whatever you want opened when you click here. You want to save that first. You want to set that up. Then what you want to do, and I'm going to go ahead and right click on this and delete it. So whatever you have set up, when you left click and drag and drop this tab, all right, it's going to remember what folders were open and what folders were closed. And that saves you an extra step. As you can see, they're both open. But if I go ahead and I close the searching and I just leave maps open, we'll right click and delete that star. We'll now left click and drag up here. And there you go. Only maps and events are opened up even after I close it and click it. So I love that feature that it remembers the open and closed folders. All right, I see a question by Walter. If you do a passage guide search, will only the resources you prioritize come up, or does Logos put everything up with those you prioritize at the beginning? Great question, Walter. I hate to say this, but it's a hit and miss. Sometimes Logos draws from your prioritizations. Sometimes it's got its own mind and it will bring in whatever it wants. So it really depends on the section within the passage guide. So be aware of that. Great thing. Don't frustrate yourself going, I thought I prioritized this. And yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked that. All right, so that's the 2-click shortcut using favorites and the shortcut toolbar. All right, let's talk about collections. Now, how do we get there? First thing we got to do is click on Tools and then type in Collect. And you'll see under the library menu, Collections. Now, collections are absolutely crucial. Any of you who have been with me for some time know how much I leverage custom collections and custom guides. Let me click open so you can see some of these. So right now I have my L10 collections, and you can see that I have a Bible study process, and I've got each one of these collections based on the steps. So these books are, let's say, Systematic and General Theology. Let me click and open up that one. These are all books related to this particular topic, Systematic and General Theology. So when I run my custom guide, and let me go ahead and do this, I'm going to click on Learn Logos, and I'm going to click on the theological background. All right, that's going to close everything down, and my custom layout opened up. You can see I've got biblical theologies, systematic theologies, but look at this. There are my custom collections. So even though I created this custom guide, I've actually got it integrated, this custom collection, into my custom guide, and that is a time saver. So now I'm not looking for all sorts of information. With this custom guide, I'm looking for theology information, theological information, and that gets rid of the noise, the stuff I don't need to see, and puts in front of me the stuff I do need to see. And that's the working this combination of collections and custom guides. All right, so let's go back to collections here and show you another great benefit. So one benefit is to take that custom collection and integrate it into a custom guide. And in fact, let me just demonstrate how to do that real quick so I don't forget to show that. So I'm going to click on Guides. I'm going to click on New. And I'm going to click Make a New Guide. And all you have to do in this guide editor is locate Collections. Let's click that. And then it's added to the window. You click All Resources. You type in the name, and we'll choose the Systematic and General Theology. And now it's added. It's always good to give it a name. Notice I chose Bible reference, and if I wanted to view that guide, let's, I guess we'll just call this web test. Very simple. We'll close that down, and now we'll go to guides. We'll type in web test. There it is. We'll click and open it, put in our passage, John 1:1, and there you go. We've now searched for John 1:1 only in my custom collection L1007, and we still got a lot of results. But you see how fast we're moving ourselves to the most appropriate information as quickly as possible. And notice it's highlighting for us where John 1:1 is. Love that feature. All right, the second benefit of custom collections, and let me do this with Bibles. Let's do Bible Top 5. I know I have something there. All right, so we picked Bible Top 5 from our collection, and we have these 5 key Bibles. Now, we can search this collection. I'm going to left click on my search magnifying glass, drag it over to the right. We could click on books. We could click all books, and we could put in, Bible Top 5. We could easily do that. And once we do that and we find it, we now can search that. So if we wanted to type in the word justification and see where it appears in these 5 translations, we can do that. All right, that's pretty straightforward. We clicked on book. We can expand it. Now we can see it. Notice that I'm actually searching my Bible like a book. I'm not actually searching it like a series of Bibles. We could click on Bible. And I'm just curious if this collection will work. And there it is. So we'll do top 5. And let's run for the justification search again. And you see the difference in search results. So just be aware that Bibles can be treated as books, and you can do some specialized searching that way. All right. So we did this search, and that's the first or second benefit of a collection. We can limit the number of resources we're searching and just search those. That's a second benefit, all right? And we can do that for books or Bibles. The third benefit is right here, show in parallel books. You really need to leverage this in a certain way for certain resources. So I'm going to check that. Now I'm going to open up a Bible. Now the way this works is that when you click on show in parallel books, if any of those resources listed below, which we have here, New American Standard, if you open up one of those books, which I have, New American Standard, and you click the parallel button, which is right here, parallel books, and you click on that, you're going to see this window open up. Now, at the bottom right, it says 3 of 3. So right now we have all parallel books. Logos kind of does that automatically. We have parallel jump list. We have, and if I keep doing it, these are pages. we eventually get to a page where we find Bible Top 5. And there it is. So think of this as kind of a jump list. If you have other Bibles you want to get to, this is how you get there very quickly. You can just click parallel, go to your Bible, you're good to go. Now notice that I have these other ones. Now, because I have these other ones, I'm going to go ahead and hit the arrow on my keyboard, the right arrow. And this is another benefit. I'm now jumping to the Legacy Standard Bible. And now we have 2 pages we can look at. There it is, Bible Top 5. Let's see what comes next when we go to the right arrow. All right. Now we're in the Nestle Aland, and that's because we're here. Now let's go one more to the right, and now we got ESV. Now notice what's going on here. It's using my all parallel books. So notice how if I click on these titles, I can choose which one is my default. So let's go back to the New American Standard. All right. We'll close down the ESV. We'll click on the Parallel Bible. We'll go back to page 1, and I'm going to check the title Bible Top 5. There it is. So now this is my default, and as I hit my right arrow key, it's going to go through that list. See how it went to New King James, and now it's cycling. So I don't know if you're aware that not only can you create these multiple lists, but you can choose a default. And this is a quick way to jump to a particular translation that you prefer. Now this works not only for Bibles, but guess what? It works for commentaries. Now the key to remember this, let me go ahead and open up a commentary, is that the box right here has to contain the same type of information. So for Bibles, we all use Bibles with Bible verses. For commentaries, it's got to be the same way. If you've got a commentary with page numbers and doesn't have Bible cross-references, it won't work. It has to be the same data type that's in here. So we've got a Bible verse. Now if we click on the parallel, you can see we've got the MacArthur books. We have Bible study, that's page 1. We have Bible studies all, commentaries concise, and all parallel books. So let's go with this one, Bible studies all. I'm going to check that. And now again, I can click once and jump to that. Let's say I want to go to the apologetics, and in a second I'm there, or I can just hit the right arrow key on my keyboard and I can cycle through all these resources to jump from one to the next. And that's really powerful. But notice, look at this. This one has a page number. So even though I included it in my list, it broke the link because the Apologetic Study Bible is not verse-based. And that is very annoying. So for some reason, I don't know why that's the case. So let's try that one more time. And we'll go over here. You know what it was? I was probably in the actual page number. So let's go Bible Knowledge Commentary. There we are, Romans 4 through 5. We'll click the parallel. There we are. We'll go to the study Bibles. And this is something you got to keep an eye on. All right. So there we go, Bible study. We'll do the short list one. There we go. And now we can jump to Romans 4:9. And now we're going to go through, there's Tom Constable and so forth. So you got to make sure those page numbers are showing up, and I've got a variety there. Love that feature. So those are the 3 uses of collections. 1 for custom guides, 2 for custom searches, and 3 for parallel for easy jumping from one resource to the next. And it works for Bibles, it works for books. Very powerful optimization feature in Logos. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, key searches. I've got tons of webinars on searching, and I would love to cover everything, but we're just going to hit a couple. And this is where we're going to use the favorites, all right? So I'm going to go to favorites, and I'm not going to do all of these, but these are some of my favorite searches, and I want to give those to you. So the first one is this one. I've been doing this for years. This has been my go-to verse, search verse topic that I've been using for the last 27 years. I mean, I just absolutely love this. All right, how does it work? So first I'm searching books, and then I choose whatever books I want. It can be a collection, doesn't matter. But here's the formula. The formula is key topic near Bible : in quotes key verse. Now I have it in this order for a particular reason. Usually I'm changing both. So in this particular one, it doesn't matter which comes first. But nevertheless, I would change my topic to, let's say,